Hello everybody, it's me, Jenny Trumpa, and today I wanted to do a little video on time management and how to become very productive in your day. So what I wanted to do was talk about some best practices for how to plan your day and how to become the most effective and utilize your time wisely while in the workplace or for life in general, whatever you're doing. So what you want to do is at the beginning of the day, you're going to want to set aside time to organize your day. Organizing your day means that you're going to be in control. You're going to have a set plan of action that you want to utilize and and take hold of before the day gets a hold of you. So in order to do that, one of the best practices is to set aside 10 to 15 minutes in the morning. You know, maybe that's when you first get to work. Maybe that's while you're drinking your coffee in the morning. But planning out your day to list out all of the activities that you need to get done that day, or activities that you're working on, projects that you're working on, things that are coming up, et cetera, et cetera. So create that to-do list and really, put your head down, limit the distractions for 10 to 15 minutes to get that list done. All right, the next thing you're gonna wanna do is to determine on that list, what are your top 3 priorities? If nothing else got done in that day, what are the 3 things that you must, get done, or that if, let me rephrase that. If nothing else were to get done that day, what are the 3 things that if you did spend time on them would move your business forward, would move your work productivity forward? What are those 3 things? You're gonna wanna do those 3 things first. So we call this eating that frog. If you know you have a big project that you've gotta get done and it kind of feels heavy and burdensome on your shoulders, it's gonna weigh you down. It's gonna make all of those other activities that you've gotta get done during the day that much harder to do and that much more draining. So if you know you've gotta make a phone call to somebody and it's really not something that you're looking forward to doing that first thing in the morning, get that thing done, eat that frog, right? Because that's gonna help you. That's going to help boost up your energy and help propel you forward to all of your other activities that you're doing for the rest of the day and make them just that much easier and more enjoyable. So the 3 things that you need to get done, put a mark or something next to them, tackle those 3 items first, and that's going to help you increase your productivity for the rest of the day and make it that much more enjoyable. All right, the 3rd thing that you're going to want to do, so the first thing we said was set aside time to make that to-do list. The second thing is to figure out what your top 3 priorities are. The 3rd thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to prioritize the rest of that list. So once you've got those 3 things, labeled or you've determined them, what are the other items on your list? Maybe there are things that you'd like to get done, so those are kind of medium priority or, to do next. And then you've got things on the bottom of your list that if they didn't get done, that wouldn't, it wouldn't be any skin off your back. It wouldn't be a big deal. So you're going to want to prioritize your day in that way. Now, this is an extra bonus for you, is to create a time management grid. All right, so Stephen Covey, if you read his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, I highly recommend that book, by the way. It's an amazing book. It's really gonna, hands down, it's just a really great book. So for all areas of life, for relationships, improving relationships, for improving, success, for improving productivity, all of that. And he has a section in that book, and one of the 7 habits is time management and how to master time management. And by mastering time management, you're able to, that helps you propel yourself into, greater success. So he has a time management grid that he utilizes. And right now I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you that grid because I've got it pulled up right here on my desktop. So the time management grid, there are 4 quadrants in it. Let's see, here we go. Give me a second here. So we've got 4 quadrants in this time management grid. And those 4 quadrants are urgent and important. And we've got quadrant 2, which is not urgent and important. Quadrant 3, which is urgent and not important. And quadrant 4, which is not urgent and not important. So quadrant 1 is for the most immediate and important deadlines. All right, so these are things that you know, must get done today. You must go to that meeting, or you must go to that appointment, or you must make that phone call, or answer, whatever it is. These are, you know, this would also be like if the dishwasher is leaking, because that actually did happen to us this week, but we're getting a new dishwasher out of it, which is pretty cool. Then you've got to tend to that right then and there. So that's urgent and important. So all of those things in your to-do list, you can write down into quadrant 1. Quadrant 2 is not urgent, but it's important. So these are things like long-term strategizing and development. So when I was making my to-do list, I put time management training into this quadrant, because this is something that I feel is important. It's not urgent that it gets done immediately, but it's good for long-term strategizing and developing of the team. So quadrant 3, these are things that are time pressure distractions. Okay, so they're not really important, but someone wants it now. So these are things, for example, oh gosh, what would I put in here? Some maybe, you know, like an email that comes in, or somebody that comes to your desk and wants something. It's urgent for them, but it's not important necessarily for you. And, you know, like the terminology there, of course it's important because human relations are important, and it's important that we communicate, and everything pretty much in the workforce that we do is important. This is just sort of his time management grid on it, and I'll explain the reason why these 4 quadrants are important and which quadrant you want to focus your time and attention in the most, okay? So quadrant 4, these are things that are not urgent and they are not important. So these are things like activities that yield little, if any, value. Activities that are often used for taking a break from time-pressured and important activities, okay? So here's what we want to do is with that to-do list, you want to distribute your items into each one of these quadrants. Where you want to focus a majority of your time is in quadrant 2. So we have here in this little note that, that I pulled up, it says many people find that most of their activities fall into quadrant 1 and quadrant 3. Quadrant 2 is often underused. Yet quadrant 2 is exceptionally important because one must work both tactically and strategically at the same time. Finding ways to expand quadrant 2 activities is a common outcome from this grid. So that's where we want to focus most of our time and attention, is in quadrant 2. We will be pulled into quadrant 1, we will be pulled into quadrant 3 and quadrant 4 as well, but we want to really find that most of our time and attention is spent in quadrant 2. All right, so one other, let's see, tip. Well, yeah, that's pretty much it. So in planning your day, you're going to want to distribute all of those. That's it. One other tip that I have for you is to put a time frame next to each one of the activities. So for example, if you're in quadrant 1 and it is urgent and it is important and there's a deadline that you have to meet, focus on those activities, put a time limit next to each one of them, and really try to stick to that time frame and getting those things done. So I'm going to show you my sort of to-do list and how I have distributed it, okay? So that you can kind of get an idea and see how you might be able to do something similar. So I'm going to just, this is my whiteboard up here. And let's see, you won't necessarily see it very well. But here I've got my quadrant 1, I've got quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. How I distributed it, because it'll make sense to me and in my mind, I've got, you know, in quadrant 2, I've got this time management training that I really wanted to get done all week. So here I am doing it. I've given myself 30 minutes. That gives me time to plan out what I want to say. It gives me time to actually make the video, and it'll give me time to upload the video onto YouTube and distribute it via email to the people that I want to distribute it to. So I've given myself 30 minutes here for that in total. All right, and I've got some other activities in this quadrant 2 that I'd like to get to today. But I also have quadrant 1 over here, which is pretty urgent, and I've got, you know, I'm going to Houston, so I'll be doing some recruiting, and so I need to plan that trip. That could also kind of go here in quadrant 2, but because it's, for me, a high priority, this is one of my top 3 things that I want to get done today. I'm putting it in quadrant 1 because I want to focus my attention on it as well. I've got to get some HR things done and reconcile some credit cards because it's the end of the month. So that actually has to, that's a deadline that has to happen today. And, you know, there's some emails that we need to get out. So next to each one of these things, I've contributed, you know, I've said that I want to put like 15 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever it is next to each item. And that's how I can help keep myself on track. And, you know, if I need to shut my door for those times and really put my head down and focus, then that's what I can do. Basically, that's my tip for you guys. Oh, hold on, let me find you again here. There you go. All right, so that's my tip for all of you, and I hope that this video helps with you and planning your day, and for all of us, so that we can be the most productive that we can be and reach success, not only in the workplace, but also in our lives and in general. So hope you enjoy this video, and we will talk soon. Have a good day.